3 years ago, almost to the day, the Super Mario Bros. Movie dropped into theaters and became one of the most unlikely billion-dollar hits in recent memory. I remember seeing it at a midnight 4DX screening in Times Square. I walked out at 2 a.m. and my first thought was, this is solid but incredibly rushed. And yet I went back twice because underneath all that momentum, there was something that actually worked. It did tap into that childhood nostalgia of playing Nintendo games, creating a very simple story out of characters we all know and love, making them lovable with popular voice actors. It did work. And despite it being rushed, I did enjoy it. And the sequel's finally here. The Super Mario Galaxy movie just hit IMAX on April 1st, 2026. Same directors, Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelinek. The same screenwriter, Matthew Fogel. Same Illumination animation. The same Brian Tyler score. My reaction walking out of Lincoln Square IMAX was almost word for word what I said 3 years ago. This was solid and rushed. Except this time, I'm not sure I'm willing to go back twice. And let me explain why, because I think this comes down to something very specific about storytelling architecture, and the best way to illustrate it is to put these two plots side by side. Now, the 2023 Super Mario Bros. Movie gave us the simplest possible premise. Two Italian-American plumbers from Brooklyn, Mario and Luigi, get sucked into a magic pipe, separated and dumped into an entirely new world. Mario lands in the Mushroom Kingdom, Luigi lands in the Dark Lands in Bowser's hands, and that's it. That's your whole engine. Mario joins Princess Peach to recruit the Kong army, while Luigi is held captive by Bowser. Everything flows from that. You have a clear protagonist with a clear goal. Find my brother. A fish out of water discovery of this entire Nintendo universe, and a villain whose motivation, as ridiculous as it is given real comedic weight. Bowser wants to marry Peach. He's obsessed. He writes songs about her. Jack Black turns what could have been a flat Saturday morning cartoon villain into the funniest, most committed performance in the movie. And it generated so much hype. People were making that Peaches song viral because it's funny, because it works. The entire plot of the first film spun out of Bowser's love for Princess Peach, and Black's performance was a delectable weave of monomania and insecurity. That specificity is what made it feel grounded, despite being completely insane. Mario and Luigi are new to this world, so we are new to this world, the audience. Every reference, every Easter egg, every new location lands because we are discovering it through characters who are discovering it too. The Mario Kart sequence works. Donkey Kong works. Rainbow Road works. You're seeing the Nintendo universe for the first time, and it feels like a greatest hits tour with an emotional through line underneath it. Now here's where Galaxy falters. The plot starts with Rosalina, who is revealed to be Peach's long-lost sister, who gets kidnapped by Bowser Jr., intent on draining her cosmic power to fuel a planet-destroying weapon and free his imprisoned father. Meanwhile, Mario, Luigi, and a newly introduced Yoshi hold down the Mushroom Kingdom while Peach and Toad venture into space to find her. Now, on paper, this sounds like more movie, right? You got two storylines, new characters, cosmic stakes, but more is not better when your foundation isn't stable. The first movie worked because you had one clear emotional question. Will Mario save Luigi? Who are the two main characters you came to see? I mean, it's in the title, Super Mario Bros. Movie, and that's wrapped inside a fish out of water adventure. Galaxy replaces that with a plot that's essentially a series of checkpoints. Peach and Toad fight a Frog King in a casino. Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi briefly hold the Mushroom Kingdom. Bowser Jr. kidnaps the castle. They go to space. Things happen, more things happen. While not a single character, including Mario and Luigi, occupies the center of this film. And that's because the film has no center. There's no emotional core here, where the first movie at least you had this story of two brothers trying to find each other and learn about this new world. Think about Yoshi's introduction, for example. The first movie's post-credits teased him brilliantly. One egg, one wink at the audience. And here, instead of developing any of that, we get a 30-second montage in the first 5 minutes explaining how Yoshi ended up in New York. It is cute, it's well animated, it is functional, but this also represents a big problem with the whole movie in miniature. It's efficient, it's fast, but there's no room to breathe, no room to really feel anything. And here's what really bothers me about Super Mario Galaxy. And it's not that it's a kid's movie, it's not that it's fast-paced, it's not that it's loaded with fan service. All of those things can coexist with craft. We have receipts. Let's talk about K-pop Demon Hunters, this year's Oscar winner for Best Animated Feature, which you can stream on Netflix right now. On the surface, that premise sounds insane. K-pop stars who are secretly demon hunters trying to seal an evil barrier with the power of song. That's equally as ridiculous as Mushroom Kingdoms and Talking Turtles. And yet, the directors Maggie Kang and Chris Appelhans definitely used the familiarity of the plot to keep the pacing brisk. And the time that might have gone to over-explaining the world building gets devoted to humor and characterization instead. The characters fit well-known archetypes on the surface, but as the film progresses, you discover the sensitivity underneath. Rumi's struggle with her identity mirror anyone who's ever felt like they don't fit neatly into a box. That's a kid's movie, and that's fast, that's colorful, and it has a ridiculous premise, and it has soul. Or look at Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Again, kids movie, video game IP, fast-paced, loaded with fan service for longtime Sega fans. But that film understood something Galaxy keeps forgetting. The relationships between characters are the stakes. Shadow's backstory, the dynamic between Sonic and his found family. Tails and Knuckles having actual agency. These aren't interruptions to the action. They are the action. You care who wins because you care who's fighting. And kids care too. They want characters that are interesting. Galaxy is all the fighting, but it's missing characters worth caring about. They think just because you have the name Mario and Luigi and Yoshi, people are going to care based on that. And unfortunately, they do. This movie has grossed a ton of money, but it just goes to show you that when you might win the box office, you can totally fail at having a coherent, great story. There's also the Lego Movie, possibly the greatest argument ever made that you can make something that is on the face pure commercial product and still constructed around a moving emotional core. Everything is awesome as, ironic anthem. Emmett's ordinariness as the point of the whole movie. Lord Business as a metaphor for the adult who forgot how to play. The movie had no business being as good as it was. It was literally a feature-length toy commercial, and yet it made people cry because the writers cared. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin, because Super Mario Galaxy has company in the franchise graveyard. Despicable Me 4 is what reminded me of Super Mario Galaxy. That's the clearest parallel. You have your IP, you have your beloved characters, you have wall-to-wall gags, celebrity voices, references to what came before, fast-cutting, bright colors, and you have absolutely no reason any of it is happening. Gru doesn't grow, the minions are just there to be minions, the new villain exists to give the movie a runtime. It's not a bad time, it's professionally assembled entertainment, but it is empty. It's the cinematic equivalent of scrolling. You consume it and feel nothing an hour later. The difference between Despicable Me 4 and Despicable Me 1 is the same difference between Galaxy and the first Mario movie. The original Despicable Me gave you a supervillain who adopts 3 little girls and falls in love with them against his own will. That's a real story. The orphan subplot, Agnes and her stuffed unicorn, Gru being accidentally good, that's stakes, that's character. Even Minions, which is not exactly Citizen Kane, understood that its characters needed wants. They want a master. That's the whole movie. One goal, one engine. It's dumb, and it works. Galaxy can't even give me that. It's full of scenes of running, leaping, chasing, and fighting, and more fighting, but nothing in the movie is sustained. It's a mad jumble, an eager product tie-in mess. And unlike K-pop Demon Hunters, unlike Sonic 3, unlike the Lego Movie, there is no emotional question underneath all that spectacle that makes you want the answer. This is what I'd call the classic sequel problem, and it plagues animated franchises specifically. Kung Fu Panda 2 solved it by going deeper into character backstory, making Poe's adoption a wound that the whole plot had to heal. Shrek 2 solved it by expanding the world while keeping the same emotional core. Shrek's fear that Fiona deserves better than him. The best animated sequels understand that a second film has to deepen, not just widen. This movie is rushed. We should have got more of Yoshi's integration and Bowser Jr.'s introduction before trying to go full Galaxy. A lot of people were even saying this should have been the third movie. Develop these characters more. The Bowser and Bowser Jr. dynamic is one of the most emotionally interesting threads in this film. A bad father trying to reconnect with a son he neglected, refracted through the absurdist lens of a giant turtle in a spiked collar. That could have been a whole movie. Instead, it's a subplot in a movie that already has 4 other subplots. None of this is to say the film is a disaster. The animation is stunning. There are shots in this film where Bowser Jr. swoops through his fortress and the camera just glides through the architecture of Planet Bowser and the detail, and you feel the craft of everyone involved. Benny Safdie as Bowser Jr. is an interesting casting swing. Brie Larson's Rosalina's great. Jack Black, who was the MVP of the first film, is softer and sweeter here. It works. more bumbling dad than megalomaniacal villain, which is an affecting choice in isolation. But talent isn't enough when it feels like the Nintendo suits took over. It's one of the only animated features in years that seems to wear its Easter eggs on the outside. And here's where I land. The Super Mario Bros. Movie was thin, but it earned its thinness. It knew exactly what it was, and it executed it with enough charm to justify $1 billion. Galaxy tries to be a bigger story while remaining just as breezy, and these two impulses cancel each other out. You can't introduce Rosalina, Bowser Jr., Yoshi, Fox McCloud, a cosmic mythology about sisters made of stardust, and give all of it emotional resonance in 98 minutes. Something has to give, and what gives is the story.